Please do. I call the North Plains City Council meeting to order at 7:03. We did pledge of allegiance, so Lori, will you do roll call for us, please?
Thank you. Counselor Dumbrell.
Present.
Counselor Page.
Here.
Counselor Hagedorn. Here. Counselor McCall Wallace.
Here.
Counselor Pittman. Present. Counselor Redding. Here. Thank you.
Okay, first item on the agenda is the approval of the August 4th City Council minutes. Is there any discussion? Yes, Councilor Redding.
I've already informed Lori and it's already been affixed in the agenda packet, but Mandy's and my council report names were flipped, so they've been.
Okay, any other discussion? If not, I'll entertain the motion.
I move to approve the August 4th city council minutes as corrected earlier.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, say aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Next is public comment. So just as a reminder, 3 minutes, please state your name and inside or outside, correct, Lori?
Correct.
Okay, so your name and whether you're inside or outside the city. So first we have Emily Waldron, UGB Brownfield Grant.
Bill, are you doing the clock or?
Hi, my name is Emily Waldron. I am an outside the city limit resident, but I do reside in 97133. I wanted to make comments today about 2 things. The recent planning committee meeting that I attended, which is now moving forward with a UGB expansion of over 500 acres. And I don't remember the council having a motion for the planning committee to start taking up a large urban growth boundary like this. I am also concerned because in that meeting, staff began speaking about using resolutions 489 and 490 to justify the urban growth boundary expansion. And I believe it was at the last city council meeting on August 4th that a conversation was held amongst the councilors here that those resolutions are technically zombies. So why are zombie resolutions being used to do an urban growth boundary expansion? That would be the largest urban growth boundary expansion in the state of Oregon's history, as well as an expansion that it seems like there hasn't been a lot of community outreach in the last 9 months about this expansion and what's going to be happening. And so it's just very shocking to have something like that come up when I know that it has torn this community apart with the resolution and the referendum and all the things that happened. So to have it kind of feel like it was a secret surprise that here's this urban growth boundary was a big deal. And I can already say that if there's not community involvement to a greater extent, and also I think promises to the community that we're not going to end up with tons of data centers and semiconductor factories instead of remaining a town with our character and our culture and community, there's going to be a lot of pushback on that. I also, in preparing for giving a statement today, looked at today's agenda and noticed a public comment about the Brownsfield grant and how much was awarded to the city. It's been stated by the city manager, Bill Reed, on multiple occasions, including, I think the earliest one was like May 5th on public record. July 7th was another one. The second council meeting in July was another one, where every time you ask the city manager how much money we get. You all are told it's $1 million. On all of the EPA records, we're only awarded $500,000. So why is the city manager saying double what the EPA is saying? And the EPA, their award is a final award, like they give you the money and that's it. So where are these numbers being different? Where is the extra money coming from? It seems like that project is already underway. So what is going to happen then when the money runs out? Is it just going to be left half finished until maybe hopefully the EPA awards in a future cycle? Is it going to be that people are doing a GoFundMe, that there's a completion somewhere else? In the July 7th meeting, it was confirmed the only funding for that grant is the EPA fund. The Oregon lottery
Thank you.
minutes
That's-
do not come in. Thank you for your time.
Next is Fawn Posey, UGB one.
Greetings, Council President and City Councilors. I passed out the hard copy of what I have, and there's a second page that you'll want to read, but I don't have time, so I'll skip that. So I'm coming to you from the nonprofit group Save Helvetia. My name is Fawn Hosey, and our group is in the 97124 rural county. Our mission is to advance policies, leaders, and actions that protect Helvetia's treasured resources. We give our attention to air, water, and prime farm and forest land to sustain future centuries. We rely on the strengths created by generations of farmers and families, their historical context and connections to the land, and their skills with crops and soils as an indispensable resource to produce a positive and sustainable future. While farmers tend the land, they also tend our wider landscape, are feeding our Oregon identity and values. Since farmland is a core asset of our regional tri-county economy, as well as our quality of life, and because agriculture is a traded sector economic driver, our second greatest in Washington County and in Oregon, it's regionally important. Several goals of our land use laws speak to these values. Helvetia cannot thrive as an island, and neither can North Plains. We're close neighbors, thrive on mutual support, respect, and understanding. A couple of points that I've not heard in public discussion of the UGB expansion. One is that you're still looking at a decision-making proposal to double the size of North Plains, but we're talking about something that isn't well known, that the dollar value of land at the edge, farmland, in most cases in Washington County, in the path of anticipated growth, becomes a speculation economy. Prime land might still be farmed, but the sale price is inflated 50 to 80 times of what a farmer can pay. And that's not sustainable for farming communities. Another factor is that aggressive expansion will limit your future options, and it will limit the options for descendants in future centuries. Rural reserve farmland is to remain in farming until at least the year 2060, 50-year reserve. Already, in less than 200 years of settlement in Washington County, we've sacrificed about half of our prime farmland to urbanization. So what's going to be available for future centuries? We're cornering ourselves, and it's up to us to think about that. So please set the course for smaller growth, perhaps 25% of your current land base.
Thank you, Fawn, this time.
Thank you, and please read the second page.
All right, Lori Porro. Can you state your name for the record and inside or outside?
My name is Lori Furrow and I'm inside the city. On August 13th, the city administration presented to the planning commission the new UGB recommendation. And personally, I was taken back, and as a citizen of North Plains, I felt disrespected and unheard. Where was the public involvement? Apparently, the relook was considered involving the public and hearing their voice. The administration continuously referred to the relook process. In my opinion, the relook process was rigged. The former mayor and our administration set up the committee members. Personally, I didn't feel comfortable participating, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who felt that way. As an ordinary citizen, I can't imagine any common talking points that envision a future city with landowners or developers that are trying to sell. Their hopes and dreams are to make millions and move to Hawaii. Furthermore, the administration characterized the relook process as robust, but there were less than 10% of the population participate in this process. I would not characterize that as robust involvement. Many times in this body, non-residents have been characterized as outsiders. I can think of many volunteers, non-residents from North Plains Smart Growth and Strong Towns who are so incredibly giving with their time, talents, and knowledge. They volunteer or work pro bono. So to take non-citizens who are possibly going to become millionaires and put them on this committee, what is there to say, but it's completely incongruent action. We want a transparent administration. I wonder how much the last few months that you, Bill, and your staff have put into this UGB process. The people clearly voted on May 24th and elected 4 candidates that promised to listen to the citizens before planning an expansion. We want an administration that respects our citizens and listens to them. We want the city to respect council, define pillars and priorities, such as providing access through improved communication and connectivity and minimizing resources dedicated to the UGB planning. Why? Because the UGB process has been the main focus of the city for years, and the majority have agreed it's time to change that and to focus on their current, and to focus again instead on the current citizens and their priorities. Finally, to the city council, please listen and heed what has been said regarding the UGB so we don't repeat history. Also, please take the time to pause and listen to the citizens regarding the selection of the mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Aaron Nichols, you can state your name for the record and inside or outside.
Good evening, Council President. My name is Aaron Nichols. I live at 11,000 Northwest Jackson Quarry Road, Hillsborough, Oregon, 97124, about a mile from the city. I'm coming here because I am concerned, as well as many others are, about the last 2 Planning Commission meetings, where it does appear that at least the Planning Commission is trying to move forward with planning another large UGB expansion. I think you'll likely be told this is the early stages, and I believe that's correct. It's the early stages, but the worry I think that I would have in your seats is that this is when the money is spent. This is when the plan is going to be made. Of course, you'll have the final say, but the final say between a large expansion and nothing is not the kind of input that likely you want, and certainly that you all were elected to provide. So the current plan being sent through the Planning Commission appears to rely on the old EOA and the old HNA, which means a lot of data centers. It also means an HNA that was outdated last year and about doubles the population estimates of today. And that's before Intel started contracting. So it is, I think, very outdated now. The EOA equally was is imagining a semiconductor plant coming here, which is an unlikely scenario. So I think I would ask that you all step in now, talk to the Planning Commission and make it clear what you all want, what kind of expansion you think would be acceptable to citizens, and most importantly, as Lori was saying, what kind of listening needs to be done before an expansion like this goes forward. That I think is the minimum, because if we start another very large UGB expansion based on the same documents as last time with the same very minimal process and outreach that is mostly sales, I think we'll end up in the same place we were, having spent more money and having gotten no more expansion. And so that's what I've come to say. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Okay, next is Lori Dexheimer. Sorry, Laura. Laura,
That's okay, I don't think you speak, I was only here as someone that's gonna speak against the food bank.
okay. I have Jeremy Walbridge.
Good evening, counselors, and thank you guys for having this forum. My name is Jeremy Waldridge and I am inside the city. I'm coming here tonight to respectfully request a waiver for the requirement to pursue a non-conforming construction permit for my home so that I can move forward with installing solar panels on my roof. Our home was fully conforming when it was built. The only reason it's not conforming now is because of a change to zoning ordinance number 427. Which limits the garage to extend no more than 6 feet beyond the front wall of the house. Our garage extends just under 8 feet, which is fully legal at the time of the construction, but became non-conforming after the update. The intent of the 2016 change was to improve neighborhood design, character, and reduce garage dominance along the street. I understand that reasoning, but in our case, the garage already existed. It was legal when it was built, and the solar project we are proposing does not affect the garage setback at all. And this isn't just my situation. On our street and the one just directly behind it, 8 of the 12 houses would also fall under the same non-conforming classification because of how the garages were originally built. That means most of my neighbors would face the same unnecessary hurdles if they wanted to make improvements like solar. The solar project itself does not change the footprint of our house or garage, nor does it increase the degree of non-conformance. The panels would simply be mounted on the existing roof line, requiring me to go through this full non-conforming structure permit process for this seems unnecessary, given that the issue has nothing to do with solar installation. Allowing this project to move forward without extra permitting would align with the city's values of supporting renewable energy and sustainability. It removes barriers for residents who want to invest in clean energy, and it sets a positive precedent that when non-conformance is unrelated and unaffected, homeowners are not penalized. So I respectfully ask the council to waive the need for a non-conforming structure permit in this case, so that we and potentially many of our neighbors can move forward with installing solar on our homes. A small adjustment will make a big difference for families like mine and the point to the city's commitment to sustainability. So thank you for your consideration.
thank you.
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Yeah,
I never for public comment, we don't do, but this is something that's, you're asking for a fee waiver or that you
So-
allowed for the solar panels?
well, for us, it's more about timing than necessarily the waiver, the extent of what it would take to send out all the letters and do all the process of the conforming would take up to 2 months in order to get that process done, which would really hinder the ability for us to get the solar panels in a timely manner and be able to get them with how busy solar is backed up now. That being said, I think it's also doesn't make a lot of sense to ask, someone who
I
has
was
a
asking whether the city's telling you can't put up solar panels or they're asking you to pay.
We would have to pay an $800 fee
I see.
and also go through a process that would take 2 months to get a non-conforming permit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next is Cindy Hurst Garlic Festival. Name and insider routes.
I have to read. Good evening, Council President and councilors. First of all, I want to tell you, I appreciate the microphones. Thank you very much. I can hear everything you're saying. My purpose here tonight, I live in the city of North Plains, but I'm here as a director on the Chamber of Commerce. And I want to make sure that you all understand how much it has been appreciated for the work that was done with the train issue at the Garlic Festival. And I just wanted to make sure that appropriate thank yous and appreciation is extended to quite a few people. First of all, to our police department, sheriff's department. I believe they put in their emergency plan. They started putting that into effect. And I'm sure that not everything went smoothly, but it was a learning experience for everybody. Also, I wanted to thank the Public Works Department. I know I saw several of them out working, directing traffic and doing what needed to be done. And that's really appreciated. TVFNR, of course, for their quick response. And also for the Public Information Officer, Corinne Hanning. When she was on television, she was on K2 and Fox 12. And she didn't say that the city was shut down. She was saying, we're going to be opening up the city for the festival. So people who were listening could still come. I really appreciated the way she worded everything. I think that, I don't know if the city is planning to do this, but I know the chamber is planning to send a sincere thank you to the railroad company. You know, we said 3 days. Everybody said 3 days. The railroad's gonna take 3 days to clean this up. 4:30, they had the roads open and they were gone the next morning. That was phenomenal. So the chamber is planning to send a letter to the railroad expressing our appreciation for that. The other thank you that needs to be done is to the NPA board and Patty Burns for getting that shuttle in place just as quick as they could. And I know there were a lot of people walking around Gordon Road, the 2-mile trek. There were 5 residents on Wasco Street who set up free water sprinklers and really took care of our visitors here in town. And they need to be recognized. I don't know how we can do that, but it was really appreciated. I did stop and talk with each one of them and thank them. But I think something from the city would be really nice. And I think the last thing that I want to say is, I think that our Garlic Festival was fantastic this year. If even with the train wreck, we do an informal count of visitors and it was still up from last year. So there was that 2-hour lull in the afternoon, but it still went up. So.
Thank you, Cindy.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
Okay, next is Chris Barone. Baron, I'm sorry. If you don't, if I haven't mispronounced your name yet, I apologize, just bear with me.
I'm used to it now. Good evening, Chris Barron, Within City. So I'd like to, first off, good evening, council members and neighbors behind me. I'd like to respond to the repeated negative comments directed towards our city manager. While criticism can sometimes be constructive, I think it's equally important to recognize the real progress and leadership that has benefited North Plains. At the Roll Tide properties off Glencoe Road, for example, the city created a tenant improvement grant program that has already helped 3 businesses open, with each receiving $50,000 toward their build-outs. That's a direct investment in filling empty spaces and bringing in the businesses residents want. And this effort was spearheaded by our current city manager. At the Glencoe Opportunity Zone, the site for the proposed grocery store, the discovery of contaminated soil could have ended the project due to a cost of removing the soil being in the 7-figure expense. Instead, Bill led the effort to secure Brownfield's grants in hopes of the grant covering the cleanup costs and keeping that project moving forward. That's the kind of leadership that turns setbacks into opportunities. We've also heard repeated claims that the city finances are in shambles. As someone who took part in the city budget process and works in finance, I can tell you that is simply not true. During his time as finance manager, Bill implemented a new budget process that encourages departments to save money rather than operate under the wasteful use it or lose it model so common in other municipalities. I'd also like to add the budget process is transparent, aligns directly with city council's directives, and led to this year's biannual budget being passed unanimously. As for the audit delays, they are not unusual. In fact, one nonprofit board I sit on is still working with the CPA firm on their 2022 audit. The real financial challenge for North Plains is not mismanagement, it's the reality that the city is trying to deliver a full range of city services with the lowest tax base in the region. That's why thoughtful growth, particularly business growth, is so critical to building stronger tax base and reducing the strain. Finally, when it comes to attracting businesses like a grocery store, the truth is no business can succeed here without enough customers. At our current population, the numbers simply don't work. We've already seen local businesses close for this very reason. If our message continues to be as a community one of no growth, then developers and business owners will take their investment elsewhere. If we truly want the amenities we've been asking for, we need to support responsible growth and support leadership that is working hard to make it happen. Rather than tearing down people driving progress, let's focus on solutions that will make North Plains stronger for all of us. So I want to close with this. If you live in the city of North Plains and care about the future of our city, please show up to these council meetings and make your voices heard. We cannot allow a vocal minority spreading misinformation and distrust to dominate the conversation. Let's show up, speak up, and ensure the direction of our city reflects the voices of those that call North Plains home. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and Mr. Butch Kindle, see, I won't mess up your name.
Oh, no, you did pronounce it right.
See, there you, I got one.
David, that was a pretty impressive report he gave, and mine is not gonna be that extent, but I have things on my mind that I would like to share. Over the last 6 months, I've heard so much negativism, and I've never heard this much in 44 years being on city council. And I think it's sad for the community, for the council members that are here, for the city staff, the attorneys, everybody behind us that's in favor of not having this negativism. I would hope it would disappear. You people are good people. You don't need to hear that stuff. And if I'm not wrong, if the city attorney can correct me, anytime you hear a negative commentism against any city staff or anybody here in this room, you can call a point of order and stop that discussion. Is that not right? Can you not? No? I thought that was, so you can just let them babble on? I mean, negatively, you can say negative things. We need to change something in this government, in my opinion. I hope I'd be the first one to do that. So we can't make a resolution doing that? You got first minute. Okay, I understand that, but negative? Okay. Very sad for all those people that give you those negative comments to every one of you. It's not right. It is just terrible. And I'm standing corrected, but I don't know what to do. I just, it's sad, and I hope things get better. So thank you for hearing me out, and I was hoping I had a solution, but I guess I do not. So freedom of speech is okay, I guess, huh? You're welcome. Did I just say it?
Let me be clear, Butch, we can ask for, encourage, and hope for civility, but we cannot require.
Can you ask for it publicly? I mean,
Yeah.
can the council do that?
We do every meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and now that's all in here.
As far as I know, those are the cards I have.
That's what I got. All right, so now for online, I have Linda Gals Martin for Strong Towns. Linda, if you want.
Thank you, everyone. Good evening, council. As you know, my name is Linda Gallus Merton, here to testify for Strong Towns North Plains. Members come from inside and outside city limits. Later this evening, you will be evaluating the city manager's performance. Something has come to our attention that should concern all of you. After taking months and having to be directed by this body for the city manager to secure a surety bond, we have learned that he is, in fact, not bonded. If a claim were made today, Western Surety Company would not pay. Why, you wonder? Because no payment for the bond has been received. Today, we called Assured Partners of Oregon to inquire whether the premium notice dated 5/24 and 6/24 had been paid. When no one answered, we called the 800 number for billing questions also listed on the premium notice. We spoke with Teresa, who looked up the bond number. Finding nothing for payment, she checked every other possibility where payments are posted. She then said how grateful she was that we had made the call and alerted CNA to the problem. Quote, "Not often, but sometimes things fall through the cracks," she said. After several more minutes, she said no payment for bond 675-33230 had been made. She took down an email address to send the report she filed on this case. And once received, we will share it with the council. Further, Strong Towns intends to file an ethics complaint with Oregon Government Ethics Commission. For your part, we would expect that you would ask yourselves why the city manager would go to such extraordinary lengths to avoid getting a bond in the first instance and then purposely not pay for it in the second, after you had authorized payment. If you believe that this was simply an oversight rather than an intention to avoid procuring a bond, you are now part of the problem and can be held liable. Thank you.
Thank you. And final is Ron Bunch.
Thank you, Council and Council President Dumbro. Ron Bunch, presenting for Strong Towns Steering Committee. What I'd like to speak to tonight is the Council and the Planning Commission's authority to initiate legislative action. I attended the August 19th Planning Commission meeting, and there it was stated that the Planning Commission has the authority to initiate a comprehensive plan amendment and proposed urban growth boundary, that this authority lies with the Planning Commission as a decision-making body. Well, in terms of process, the new UGB is a policy matter of great significance. So this poses a question to Council. How does it view its leadership and legislative role here? Both the Council and Planning Commission have legislative authority to initiate actions. However, Council is the ultimate decision maker. So you may wish to consider some options. For example, should Council consent to staff's directions, step away from the UGB issue and allow the Planning Commission to initiate the process based on the minimal information you've received thus far? Or should it take responsibility and make a more informed decision whether or not to do this based on reports and findings and advice from city attorney and input from the community? Another thing to consider is that the UGB process proposed by staff has significant political and financial risks. You should examine the potential consequences here. It must be acknowledged that there is a motivated, capable, and well-resourced opposition to any poorly planned, overly large expansion. Past lessons include several things, but should be at the forefront of Council's decision. For example, would 70% of North Plains residents agree that a high priority right now is to immediately expand the UGB? That a good starting point is somewhere between 500 and 650 acres? And 3, the same housing and employment projections and economic policies used before should apply. 3 other things to consider. The previous UGB proposal was designed as a real estate investment plan, not a community plan. The current proposal has the same characteristics. Real estate economics must take a backseat to community needs. There now seems to exist a general mistrust in city governance. North Plains could have a right-sized urban growth boundary by now if the city has used methods available to small cities instead of proposing a really massive expansion. It would have cost you a lot less money. So our conclusion, we urge the City Council to exercise leadership, carefully consider staff's proposal. The best option is for it to not proceed right now and to make its own decision on how it wants to do that, not follow staff's or the Planning Commission's direction. You are the legislative decision maker. The UGB is not a critical issue right now. It's recommended to take time, regain community trust, address pressing governance needs, and then develop a community-based planning effort that proposes a sustainable growth management plan. And as always, we would be pleased to lend our resources to help. Thank you.
Okay, so that concludes our public comment. Now we're going to move on to staff reports. And first I have Robin. I didn't mispronounce your name. Yes.
Good evening, City Council. Just a brief report. We had a wonderful start to library fundraising for this budget cycle. As you probably saw in
we're very excited about fall programming. We are gonna try a few new things to engage our working families where they are. With some pop-up story times in the park, so we'll be sure to collect information on that, and we always do surveys for programs, so maybe that'll give us some good information about future pop-up type style activities. Also that capitalize on the interest of the community in watercoloring from our very successful summer event. We're starting watercolor Wednesdays in the library this fall for a lifelong learning objective. And we won't have formal instruction, but the library will provide supplies where people can bring their own. I did include the biennium retrospective for you this time, so you could take a look at last budget cycles, what the library delivered to the community. And for the past month, July, we saw a slight dip over the July before, but pretty similar. And what did jump up is our participation in the summer reading events. We had four of our summer reading programs had over 100 attendees this summer. So lots of opportunities for community members to get to know each other and promote literacy and lifelong learning in the community.
Counselors? Councilor Hagedorn?
I'm excited about the pop-up event in the park. I think that's a great idea. I would love to learn in the future what the attendance is. Maybe even there's an opportunity to synergize with Parks and Rec. Maybe they have some surveys and information to collect.
Yep, we always collect attendance information, and then we will do surveys as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, well, I just hope that there will be paint by numbers for some of us that are artistically challenged, but thank you.
All abilities and, welcome beginner to.
All right, I'll try to be there. All right, Chief. Also did not mispronounce your name.
Good evening, council. Not much to add from the report I provided to you guys. I'm just gonna hit the highlights though, and take any questions. Obviously, Garlic Festival was a big event for us here a few weeks ago. As noted in my police report, we staffed that with an extra 125 man hours over the 3-day event, here at Jesse Mace. Along with that, we did have a couple scuffles to deal with and assisted on about 5 medical calls. And then Saturday, obviously leading into our big train derailment. And on that note, I added some information in my staff report, but we're still kind of working on getting information back from the rail company to kind of put together a formal debrief. At some point, Bill and I talked about scheduling with council, and probably the weeks hopefully to come, where we can kind of put all the information we have together and what we knew and what we knew when, and kind of how we processed it and by who. And so with that, I would encourage you guys, if you have any questions or those kind of burning ideas or thoughts, please shoot those in email to Bill and myself, and we'll kind of collect those and just make sure that we have answers to those questions when we do get to schedule that debrief with you, so that we make sure it's all inclusive and we can kind of cover all that big stuff. Cindy Hurst mentioned it already, but obviously there's a big extended kudos to a lot of our community partners and emergency responders to that event. NEPA included, everybody working the Garlic Festival, the bus company, Public Works, they were all great. So it was definitely a team effort. And I think it turned out the best it could for us, never practicing a train derailment during Garlic Festival. So also National Night Out, we had the end of July 31st. We're a bit of an offset from the bulk of the National Night Out event. So I appreciate everybody coming out on a Thursday night. It was nice to have the council's involvement at the booth this year. Big shout out and thank you to Joanna for helping me organize that this year, along with NEPA's help. We're looking to grow that into more of a community fair, community resource type fair event. So I think just nothing but good things to come from that event. Also, we had Pete Chiropractic, as you probably know, jump on as an event sponsor that night, which was super helpful and awesome to have them, and they're excited to do that again. A couple other things to highlight. 2 weeks ago, end of July, Deputy Barters went and took a 40-hour patrol mountain bike class. So he and I are now certified to patrol on mountain bikes. which, before going that, I thought I knew how to ride a bike, and turns out I don't. So it's good training, it's a good reminder, and there were no training wheels involved, but it's okay, we survived. And one thing to address some kind of some old business, if you will, we talked about it months ago, kind of some ongoing parking concerns in our more congested neighborhoods. We're working on, we've got it built out, we're just working on getting it printed, kind of an infographic, kind of our first step to the enforcement branch of things. Just an infographic that we can quickly slide under a windshield, circle the infraction, like, hey, just so you know, this is a violation, please correct this. So kind of an educational piece to start with us giving us something to follow up with down the road with those individuals, but working on educating those communities and those community members on what the safe ways to park and what is required by ORS to park. So working that process through some education. And with that, I will take questions.
Counselors?
Thank you on educating some of our neighborhoods, on how to park.
Yes.
It's always amazing to go through and see all the different ways, and I think that's gonna be really critical for community safety. And I think the line in your report are really, which really quite sums up your month, is over the course of the festival, deputies responded to 2 physical disturbances, assisted with 5 medical calls and 1 train derailment. I mean, that's.
Yeah.
We were
missing the partridge in the pear tree, yeah. It was a busy weekend, yeah.
Hold on.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to, I just want to echo the thank you for the train. You're here personally, and to say thank you for the information about the train derailment, to keeping, Bill informed, to get us all informed, knowing what was going on, and really appreciate that. I know it's all part of normal operating emergency systems, but you have to jump into place when they happen, and and people really help the community, and really, and that's what it takes. It takes a community to do that. But I want to say thank you for stepping up in the leadership role in that moment.
Absolutely, thank you.
All right, well. go
I
ahead.
talked about the children, it's quite big news, so thanks for that. That's be talk about town for a little while. Last city council meeting, I asked Schutz if whatever happened to the traffic study we're gonna do on Glencoe.
The traffic study?
That's what I should say, the traffic enforcement. Budget we had.
Oh, you're talking about the grant money?
And I
Yes.
haven't heard anything about it. And
Yeah.
I'd like to know when it's coming, so we can dodge that area.
Yeah. Well, I promised you plenty of warning when it was gonna happen, but no, we had that pot of grant money. We didn't have the staffing to use it, and so we just turned it back. So we stay in the good graces to apply for it again. So it's there in the future when we need it, we'll apply again. We just didn't have the manpower to make it happen. So we just, in good faith, turned that back, so we can ask again when we're ready.
I'll just say, I think all 3 North Plains deputies should be able to drink for free from now on, because, I mean, how many deputies have had to manage a train derailment? Like, seriously, come on. That is awesome.
I've never heard of a single one.
So, no, thank you, really,
Yeah,
really
thank
appreciate it. Good work.
One.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I just had one quick question, because it sparked a thought, but I heard you mentioned just not having enough manpower, and I totally understand PTO and Garlic Festival and all the competing priorities. My question is, what would it take for manpower? Is that something we're able to pull from the county and offer?
We could,
Those
the
hours.
problem is, it's kind of competing interests, everybody's strapped for man hours, right? There's, staffing is really low across the board. And so it's basically voluntary overtime, these positions would be this grant, and so if nobody wants to work it, it's one of those things that it's not a mandatory assignment, right? And when the county's working to fill their overtime slots, and sometimes they go unfilled, it'd be hard pressed to come and backfill here on an overtime grant basis for that same opportunity. So it's across the board a staffing issue.
Okay, perfect. But in the future, that could be something.
Absolutely,
that-
something we can absolutely explore when we're kind of better set to do it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, first said that grant money actually covered the time for really.
Overtime,
Right? But
yeah.
if nobody's there to work it, then, what are you gonna do?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
well, thank you. And again, brag about the train derailment. That is awesome. Not awesome, but awesome. that you
An
guys-
experience.
Yeah, it's an experience, thank you.
It's awesome that it was resolved.
And Dustin?
Sorry. Good evening, council.
So I don't have anything else to really add to my report, other than just kind of give kudos to a couple of my crew that were on site at the train derailment, and in coordination with Chief Jones, were able to get the traffic control and everything out. And so kudos to my crew they were actually there with their families at Garlic Festival, and were able to respond immediately to all that. And so I want to give a shout out to them. They did a really good job. As far as other things that are coming up, the only thing that I really wanted to mention, I know we're gonna talk about it later. I wanted to say rest in peace to our backhoe. It had served its last mission last week. And so now it won't last for over 5 to 10 minutes at a time, and now has a flat tire, as well as a very large leak in one of the cylinders for the boom. So this kind of will go into one of our questions that we have later. But that's kind of the only update that I have, but it served its last mission well, when I was doing some cleanup at the Glencoe Opportunity area.
So let's postpone that because we'll bring you back for the resolution.
Alrighty.
But any other questions outside of backhoe?
So, about families being in North Plains and helping out with the trailer development. When I was coming back, I was suggested that I go and drive people around. I'm like, if they need me, they'll ask me. I said, but really, I'm around. So if you ever need something like that, some of this like dumb guy to like, what is something, I can point stuff all day and I am dumb, so I got that. Hey, James, go there and stand at the next thing and just like say, no, I can do that. I mean, please utilize me. I could do any kind of tasks.
All right, we'll take all the help that we can get.
All right.
And just to pile on, I think that's something good that we can send it to Bill and Chief Jones and got suggestions. I think that's a great idea, like engaging more volunteers. But I like that. Let's make sure we send it. Any other questions? All right. Dustin, thank you. You get a brief reprieve and then you can come back.
All right.
Thank you. Next is wedding.
Good evening, counselors. I don't have much to add from the report that you received in your packet. I do want to note that you received public comment from the homeowner of a building permit denial that was addressed in the packet report. I do want to address that land use standards are not something that we can waive, but they are considered as something that this council and body may direct staff to consider amendments to in the future. We are also aware of a new proposed land use development in the city for North Plains Food Bank. We are actively working with the food bank to clarify their responsibilities in the application process and bring them forward with a land use application. Other than that, I will take any questions you have at this time.
Yeah, I was just asking some about the about the solar panels. I was just asking whether or not the city said they cannot do it or you wanted a fee waive. I was just trying to clarify that. And basically that he can do it, it was just the permitting process.
Yes, so the activity would be permitted, granted that the homeowner or a contractor procured by the homeowner goes through a type 3 non-conforming use application process. That reviews the proposed activity for either the ability to reduce the nonconformity of the use or structure and or the ability to not increase the nonconformity. So installing solar panels onto a structure which is non-conforming only due to its garage extension would not be an increase in the nonconformity, and it would not adversely affect the neighborhood. That would be a pretty open and shut case for a non-conforming use permit. It is a type 3 permit application, so there is that $800 fee. And it is required to be fully noticed, published notice, mailed notice, and have a public hearing before the planning commission. So it is somewhat of an extensive process. It takes several weeks, usually depending on when planning commission is having their next meeting, 6 to 8 weeks for that application to go from being accepted to approved.
Thanks.
So I'm. Because the structure was already was conforming at the time that it was built, it feel like we're making something a lot more difficult than it needs to be, and this is not, I'm just trying to understand why. Why we would go through all of that to put solar panels on a roof that was conforming at the time it was built.
Yeah, I was gonna take that off.
Maybe we should take that
Yeah,
off.
yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, it's not in. We'll come back to that, sorry, I'm trying to wrap my head around this. Any other questions? What about, is Brian on from 3J?
No, he's on vacation this week. You were.
Ron, anything we need to know that you have for us?
Nothing from Brian's side, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, cool. Okay. Finance.
Finance. Okay, thank you, council. I don't think there's anything terribly specific I would re-highlight in the finance report to you. I would just emphasize that the numbers in the report really represent a preliminary look at the end of fiscal year 25, and therefore in the reporting that we do, we budget and report on a biennium basis. So the numbers in there are actually preliminary for biennium end. Most of the expenditures that we would be expecting for the biennium will have rolled in by now. The general fund has a few credit card bills, receipt gathering for the verification of the expenses being entered in. So we'll probably have some expenditures in the general fund that are not quite recorded, but it won't be significant relative to where things are by end of biennium. So I guess I would just kind of put it at that. There probably won't be too many changes to the biennium figures that you see in the report, particularly for the other funds, but general fund will move a little bit, expenditures going up a little bit more. And so even if it goes up to by end of biennium, even big expenditures are 104% of budget. We're still under the 5% supplemental budget requirement, which just means we were a little over, but not enough to trigger kind of, full review and potential supplemental for that. So, anyway, I'll end there and stand for any questions that you might have.
Councilor Baker.
So my question is about the gas tax. We kind of came really close to estimates, a little bit low, but there's some, downtime in that. So that's great. Comes out to be about for the biennial, it comes out to every penny is about $100,000. Thereabouts, give or take a few hundred. I mean, it's very close. We're at 3 cents a gallon now. What do we need to do? We're always facing budget constraints, and a lot of the gasoline we have is people passing to the beach, and in the summertime we get a lot of it, and wintertime not so much. What would it take to have that to be 5 cents? Is it a 20-year tax? Is it when does it expire? And I don't think it does expire. I think it's just on the books forever. To make it 5 cents, which would be another $200,000, $500,000 extra that we have specifically for sidewalks and maintenance like that. What would that take?
The short answer is it would need to go to the voters. It's a tax. And North Plains residents along with visitors would pay it to the extent that residents fill up in town. I guess what I would say is, my understanding is one of the gas stations is pursuing, I believe, the addition of some fuel pumping capacity.
Okay, so that by naturally could probably.
So
Yeah.
without touching the tax, assuming that goes through, then we would be looking at an increase in revenue by virtue of that. But any increase to the tax, you'd need to go to the voters because it's a true tax.
At what point, on obligations for the contracts we have, we took out a bond to get the money up front, and we're servicing it with this tax. At what point will we be able to reassess doing new projects? I think it's a 20-year bond, right? So 20 years is, for now, is when we have a fresh start, pretty much.
Well, we've borrowed the full amount upfront that we feasibly could, given what our gas tax revenue was going to
$6
be.
million, right?
Yeah, it was about about $6 million, that's right. And in the biennial budget that city council adopted, back in June, the projects in the transportation bond fund, which is where all those gas tax bond fund, projects are. The remaining projects in there represent the final ones with the money we have left from that bond. So, we are obligated moving forward for the next 18 years, to continue paying debt service on the bond. But with if we have more revenue because of additional fuel islands, or if city council worked with the community and decided to go out, on the ballot for a slightly higher tax rate, and there was an assured increase for those reasons, or a combination of both, that revenue streams would be higher by a certain amount, then we could reassess how much more could we feasibly borrow in a new bond upfront, to pay for more projects.
This will be city council discussion for later on. If we do have see an increase revenue personally, and we have to have the city to discuss the city council, I have to pay down what we have so we can start fresh again, right? But 18 years seems to be kind of far, so I'm trying to figure out how to get that done sooner.
No, I mean, I think it's just a matter of, I mean, we kind of have regular scheduled payments. It is with this one, I do believe with this, it's a full faith and credit borrowing. So I think there is option to pay down sooner, to pay down faster.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure, I need to verify that. I know that the only other major bonded debt that we have is what the Urban Renewal Agency has. And that was a privately issued debt, and there's no option on paying it down. We have to pay strictly according to that schedule. But this one for the bond, the fuel tax, I'm pretty sure there's some options in there, but I would need to double check.
Yeah, okay, thanks. I was wondering if you get a bump, can we alleviate that and then maybe.
Councilor Paul.
Yeah, it seems like we've ventured into a discussion about taxes and gas tax and options. And, you know, if that's something that council has consensus that they'd like to bring forward in a future agenda discussion, that seems appropriate, but rather than sort of the back and forth at this point.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions on finance? All right, so I'll remind council we're running about 30 minutes behind. So let's talk at double speed. So next item on the agenda is resolution 2319. And this is regarding the backhoe. So I know there's some questions that came up, is it the last time or the time before, I forget. But I'd like to start by asking Ashley if you would be okay. I probably apologize to prep you. Could you give us just a quick overview of how other cities typically do this with lease versus buy on equipment? Do you have any of that information?
So I do not.
Okay, sorry. Chris, I apologize. This kind of came up last minute, so I was just hoping.
Sorry, the question is.
Lease versus buy on capital equipment like backhoes, tractors, whatever.
I don't, I haven't really investigated the policy about it. In, my experience, by far the more common practice is to purchase.
Yeah.
Because you then end up, you can own it and you don't have to worry about returning it in 3 years without, I don't know.
And depreciate all that.
Depreciation and all of that.
Okay.
Maybe you can buy a lease return.
Buy a lease return. All right, so real quick before we get into the deliberations, I did want to give some brief guidance to council. First of all, we're behind, so talk quickly. Second of all, keep in mind, this was already approved in the budget, so that would have been the time to make this recommendation to buy versus lease. So at this point, we need to ask what questions we have of Dustin, get the answers, and then make a decision as council. So with that being said, I'll open it up for discussion. Yes, Councilor.
Have you ever had the opportunity to peruse the public surplus website? Because I've got the hassle of backhoes from different municipalities ranging from $10,000 to $20,000. Low hours too.
Thank you, Council. Oh, that was kind of loud. So I also have experience as a heavy equipment operator. So that was part of one of my previous careers. And so I've had a lot of experience with used equipment as well. And in my, my recommendation at this point, it's not really feasible to buy a piece of used equipment that are on some of these surplus websites because we can't guarantee the condition of them. Also a backhoe of this nature, a lot of the ones that I saw, I found some really good ones that seemed good for about $50,000 to $60,000 used that had about 3,000 to 5,000 hours. But once you get about $5,000 to $8,000 hours, you're already well past half of your lifespan of these pieces of equipment, and there's no guarantee what they were like beforehand. And some of these pieces of equipment were heavily used by some contractors, and they could be, there's a lot of as needed repairs. Like you basically take these things as needed, or not as needed, but as is. And so there's kind of a little bit of a gamble when you do a purchase of a piece of used equipment. And so looking into all of this, I purposely budgeted, not just for this piece of equipment, I budgeted about $200,000 for this equipment last year. And we have $200,000 in capital equipment and our water fund alone. We have $102,000 in our streets fund. This is more of a combined piece of equipment. We use it for all sorts of things. And I also have $20,000 in our vehicle reserve. So we do not have a shortage of funds for this particular equipment. And I was anticipating using the funds to purchase this and a few other pieces of equipment to help us remain independent and basically be able to do our job as a water department and street department and parks and whatever it is, emergency services. So there's a lot of things that we can use for this purchase. And I did do a lot of research into what it costs to rent versus lease, and also purchase outright a new piece of equipment. And what I found out is that the original cost was going to be about $200,000. I got a Sourcewell discount down to about $150,000, a little over that. And on top of that, we had a piece of equipment that is in good condition that we can trade in for about $28,000. So all in all, it would be about a $126,000 purchase instead of a $200,000 purchase. And with that, it brings us to a really good point to own it outright, because a lease would be about $2,200 a month. And for a 5-year term, that's going to be about $130,000. And we wouldn't even be able to own it outright after that. And so with this trade-in, we would already own this. And this is a piece of equipment that we could have on hand for a good 20 years. Our last backhoe lasted over 30 years. And with, I'm trying to have a good fleet maintenance program, we could easily make this piece of equipment run between 20 and 30 years. And so that was kind of the intention, is long-term, good stewardship with our money and making sure that we're, using it to the best of our ability.
Other counselors' comments? Any other deliberation?
So the long-term lease is $2,200 a month,
Correct.
and that is including any maintenance, that's just $20.
No, that's not even including maintenance. There's a $10,000 maintenance charge that's extra, and that kind of would add more addition. It's about 7.5%. So it'd be much more feasible to just buy it out front, and we have the money right now budgeted for it.
So the mini excavators, that would be, there's a mini excavator that you alluded to that gets very light use because it's not adequate. So there's no need to really use it. We have about 50 hours, you said, total on the excavator. Is that the trade in for that, or is it the old backhoe?
No, we will not be able to get any money for the new backhoe. It's gonna be, it's scrap right now. And so that other piece of equipment was something that when I've only been here for 2 years, and that was a piece of equipment that was vetted and was ordered before I got here, but I did sign for it when we got here based off of the opinions of previous personnel. And we come to find out after we got that piece of equipment that it was not going to do the job that we had anticipated. And so we couldn't use it, and therefore it sat not being used. And this is a good opportunity to get the best return out of that. Even though, I'm sorry, excuse me.
That's the trade-in.
It's the best trade-in value for what we could get out of that piece of equipment, yes.
Any other questions, or if not, I'll entertain motion?
I'll make a motion. I move to approve resolution 2319, authorizing the purchase of a Case 580 Super N backhoe loader from NNS Tractor in an amount not to exceed $154,902.66, using pricing available for the Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Contract.
I'll second.
All right, moved and seconded. Any discussion? Or a round of applause for Councilor McCall-Walls for reading that. Well done. All right. Hearing none, we will vote. We need a voice, or you want to?
You can do a roll call vote or a voice vote if you want.
Let's just do a voice vote unless somebody objects. So all those in favor of resolution 2319, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Nay.
Okay. 5 ayes, 1 nay. Motion carries. My next.
Council President, can we take a short 5 minute
Oh,
break?
yes, I'm sorry. 5 minutes. We're in recess for 5 minutes. Please return at probably 15 after.
Yes.
Okay. And we're back in session. Next item is unfinished business. Item A, discussion on the city manager's free bond versus insurance policy redundancy. So I'm just going to give a real brief reminder about what this is about. And we did get some counsel from Ashley, so unless, is that thing muted?
No, and I'm
Sorry.
turning it towards you.
Oh, sorry,
As
my
we
bad.
speak.
It just caught me. So, and then if Ashley has any other input, but basically what had happened was we had the conversation, did we need to have both the surety bond and the insurance? When we brought our insurance agent in, they informed us that it was double coverage. So we had that testimony. We asked Ashley, she did a ton of research, thank you, and determined that we indeed do have double coverage. So the surety bond was redundant, but for the sake of complying with the code, we decided, let's just do it, and then we're gonna revisit in August. Is everybody good with that? Is that ring true for?
Yeah.
Missing something?
Correct.
So, real quick, Ashley, is there anything to update us on?
Nope, you covered it.
Perfect. So, discuss amongst yourselves. For those of you that are old enough to remember Saturday Night Live.
You would tap it, but
Yes.
So the only thing I would like to add is that it's currently $350 for $100,000 worth of coverage per year. And that if we choose to not require the surety bond, which is part of the charter right now, then we would need to go through an ordinance to change that. So that's really the issue. Are we going to make that step or not? And I think that should be quick.
Councilor Hagan?
I would like to disagree in the description that it's double liability. It's actually a mechanism of accountability. Because it makes the person liable. And
Bond, you're referring to bond versus insurance?
yeah, it makes the individual that has a bond personally liable if they fail to perform their duties.
The coverage is the same though, and I think that's the testimony that we received
The
from,
coverage is the same, but it
Alicia.
makes the other person liable.
but the city is the entity that is providing the coverage in Bill's name.
True, yes, but it's an accountability mechanism. And in fact, I would also argue on that accord, we should also encourage more people to have bonds that are handling finances in our city, for example. That's one incentive to having a city manager, and making that a requirement for the city manager. And look at our taxes, right?
you guys will fire them.
I'm sorry?
You guys will fire them.
That's true too. But we're 6 months, in our we have failed audits for FY 22, 23, 24. I'm acknowledging that they are in work. They're work in process. That's a consideration. It's a mechanism of extra protection, and $350 should be a slam dunk. We've been talking about this forever furthermore. And I also, are we covered? Do we have a confirmation that our city manager has coverage? I'm concerned about what I heard
Yes.
earlier. So do we have an invoice? Proof of payment?
We've had our insurance agent in to explain this to us, so yes.
It was explained, but it was not, we did not receive the payment
So
or proof that.
we are the policy-making body, so we set the policy, staff executes policy. So I guess my answer is that would be up to staff to handle, correct, Ashley?
Yes.
We have been invoiced and paid for our annual CIS policies,
Okay.
which includes the crime, fraud
Great.
coverage that is of discussion as being potentially redundant to the surety bond. So
So we're paid for up to a year
we're at
currently.
26, yes.
Councilman Collins.
I just think we're drifting a little bit away. So the question really is, do we want to have, to continue to require a surety bond for a city manager? And that would be any city manager in our code and charter, or do we want to go through the steps to remove that? In which we would have an ordinance brought back to do that. That's really the simple question. Is there consensus to do that, or do we need to vote, or however that works? But,
Okay. Any other comments or can we?
So I don't pay for insurance. You insure something you can't afford to lose. But also, we are a municipal, we have the insurance already set up. Having double coverage, I think, is a waste of money. Not only that, but we can clearly see, have us in there, having something that's already been taken care of. Taking up lawyer fees and our time we're here talking about it. I'm in favor of taking the ordinance out.
Councilor Bacon, Councilor Redding, thoughts?
Testing, making sure this is working. I also always err on the side of caution, and in the big picture, I see both sides, that this is redundant. However, I also see $350 as being a drop in the bucket. So I could honestly go either way. I would err towards the side of caution and having both in place.
Councilor Redding?
I agree with Councilor Bacon and Councilor Hagedorn. They cover different risks. And this is about accountability of whoever is in the office, so.
So I think at this point, unless there's any further discussion, I'm gonna say that we do not have, but the consensus or the majority seems to be to, leave it. So at this point, it sounds like we will just keep it in the code unless, somebody wants to make a motion. Let's move on to the next thing. Any debate or just any disagreement with that?
no, thank you. We said we'd bring it back in August and take care of this.
That's all we needed to do.
That's what we need to do.
Okay, thank you. So we will keep the city manager surety bond and the insurance. So no change to the ordinance, thank you. Okay, next is the update and discussion on mayor selection process.
So this one's me. Is my microphone on?
Yeah, we're, no, but we can hear.
Perfect, okay. So Ashley Driscoll, City Attorney's Office, over the weekend, I provided each member of the council a rather detailed email regarding the mayor appointment process going forward, and highlighted a couple decision points that the council should make prior to going forward. Because the process is rather detailed and the email is long, I'm gonna go through it rather slowly to make sure that both the council and members of the public understand the process going forward. So for the council's awareness and for the public's awareness, the city had a posting for the open mayoral position. The city received 5 applications. And so we're going to be talking about how the council is going to go about selecting their next mayor from among those applications. This process is guided by section 33 of the city charter, as well as sections 30.15 and 33.34 of the city's municipal code. So I'm going to start by talking about what the process is generally. At the end of this, I have 3 or 4 questions that I would like the council to consider before we set a date for consideration of the candidates and the council moves forward in making a decision. So first, let's talk really briefly about what the charter says. Section 33 of the charter requires the mayoral vacancy be filled by appointment by the majority of the remaining council members. Because we have 1 vacancy, we have 4 council members remaining. And so that generally will require 4 affirmative votes from the remaining councilors selecting 1 candidate. Yes.
Is it 5 or 4?
4, so a majority. So
Oh,
you have
sorry,
6.
majority.
Yep. All right, so that's, the charter provides that guidance about how the city is gonna go about filling that vacancy. There is a little bit more guidance within your municipal code. As I mentioned before, there are two sections that are relative or related to this, 30.15. 30.15 merely reiterates what's already in your charter. So we're gonna focus then on section 33.37. And 33.37 provides a little bit more specific procedures for the council to follow. Which includes, first, that in filling the vacancy, the council may make inquiries and hold interviews as it considers necessary for the appointment. So the council can make a decision whether or not you would like to hold interviews, whether or not you would like to require them, and who you would like to interview. The appointment may be made at a regular or special council meeting. This is something that you guys consider at your next regular council meeting. If there's more urgency or you would like more time, we can also discuss a special council meeting at the end of the meeting tonight. For the actual procedures, the council will use the following procedures in the appointment process. First, public notice via a posting of advertisement in the designated local posting location, city website, and in a newspaper general circulation. The deadline for submitting applications at least 2 weeks after the notice. As I mentioned, those two steps have already been taken. The city has received 5 applications. The last provision says appointments from those applications nominated and seconded for consideration by members of the council. The reporter will announce the result of each ballot and will record each council member's ballot. An applicant who receives a majority of the votes by the current council members may be appointed to the vacant position. If 2 applicants receive the same number of votes on the first ballot, the mayor will vote to break the tie and determine which of the 2 applicants will be appointed to the position. So I'm going to break that down into a number of different steps. Some of them have already been checked off. Some of them we still have ahead of us. So the first one is the city advertise the vacancies and accept applications for a 2-week period. That's already been done. The city received 5 applications. The city will consider the applications and make an appointment at a regular or special council meeting. Submitted applications will be included as part of the agenda packet for that agreed upon meeting. So whatever date you guys set, when the agenda goes out, all of the applications will be included. The council president, in the absence of the mayor, will act as the presiding officer for the appointment process. And here's our first decision-making point. The council will conduct interviews at the agreed upon meeting for all 5 applicants with the questions agreed upon by the council at your meeting on August 4th. Provided that an applicant need not participate in the interview process in order to be nominated for appointment, as participation in the interview process is optional. It is also optional for the city to require that an applicant participate in the process in order to be considered. The council will generally follow Robert's Rules of Order for the nomination process with slight alterations described in the process that we're going to go over. After the interviews and before discussion regarding the applicants, the council president will ask for nominations. As required by your guys' city code, each nomination requires a second before the nomination is valid. Any member of the council may nominate one of the applicants. Once the nomination is received, the council president will ask for a second. If a second is received, the council president will declare the nominee nominated and ask for further nominations. If an applicant is nominated but doesn't receive a second, that application does not move forward. The council president will continue to ask for nominations from the applicants until no further nominations are received, provided that no member of council may nominate or second more than one applicant. Once no further nominations are made, the council will declare that the nominations are closed. Once nominations are closed, voting takes place with each member of the council voting for one of the nominees. Voting should be done by ballot. After each vote, the reporter must announce the result and state the council member's ballot publicly in accordance with the requirements of Oregon Public Meetings laws, which do not allow secret ballots. All members of the council, including the council president, are entitled to vote. We're going to talk about a nuance on that coming up in a second. If any candidate receives 4 votes, they are appointed mayor. If no nominee received 4 votes, then the council must re-vote until one of the nominees receives 4 votes. The council should not seek to eliminate nominees based on the votes cast without restarting the nomination process. If the council reaches a stalemate, the council may vote may make a motion and vote to decide to reopen nominations to see if another applicant garners the necessary votes. Council may engage in deliberations about the nominees before any vote. So that's the process. I also provided information about counting votes. I'm not sure I need to go through that. Essentially, everybody is required to vote. If you're abstaining from the vote, you need to provide a reason you're abstaining. The council has to provide consent. The decision points that I want to bring up tonight, the first one is at what meeting does the council want to consider the nominations? Do you want to have it at your next scheduled meeting? Would you like to set a special meeting with one topic, which would be to consider the nominations for mayor? Their next one, the decision-making point is about interviews. As I said, interviews under your city code are optional. You have received 5 applications for the mayor position. The council can decide to interview all 5, can decide to require interviews, can also decide to only interview a select number of those applicants. Because the number is relatively small, the city attorney's office advises that the council offer an interview to all of those who are interested. So the next question is regarding the fact that it is actually the mayor's vacancy. Your city code has some nuances, we'll call it, regarding the mayor's participation in this process. You currently have a council president who is acting as the mayor. Essentially, it is our office's recommendation that the council president retain his right to vote, but does not also have a additional authority to be a tiebreaker. So in this process, essentially, the council president would act like any other member of your council with no additional authority of the mayor.
Do we need to ratify that?
So that is a decision-making point because that is an ambiguity in your code. And so I will be asking for, a vote on how you guys want to handle the interviews, a vote on how you want to handle the city manager or the council president position, and a vote on when you would like to conduct the next steps of this process. So I think that sort of sums up those last couple bullet points. The council president, the mayor typically does not vote in this process, but does have a vote when there's a tie. The council president is acting as the mayor. It's our recommendation that the council president retain the right to vote like any other member of the council, but does not gain an additional authority to break a tie. So I'm going to stop there. That's a lot of information provided, and ask for any questions or discussion.
Councilor.
I have a clarifying question on item K. Provided that no member of council may nominate or second more than one applicant. So in the nomination process, as a councilor, we can nominate one or we can second one, but we cannot
have 2 nominations. Yeah.
We cannot nominate one and second another, or we cannot nominate one and then second another. We can only have one choice.
Yes.
Thank you.
I think I'm still pro parliamentarian, they're third party neutral, have no skin in the game. I'm wildly confused why we're talking about this again. We've had 2 rounds of council meetings where we've been talking about this. I thought we walked away with decisions.
So adding somebody else is gonna have it?
Mhm.
No.
We walked away with the decision to use the attorney at the last meeting, and there was definitely questions. This lays out the entire process for all of the council and all of the community. So I think it's a good thing that we're looking at that today.
Councilor Bateman, Councilor Roddy.
Councilor Bateman here. I personally am okay with using the city attorney for this process, and I think this is clearly laid out here.
James Page, I also agree this is very clearly laid out. I know there's people that don't live in a town would like to have some skin in the game by hiring somebody else to represent them. But I think we have it all done well with our code and our attorneys laying the rules for us.
So what do we need a decision on?
So a couple decision points then. So I think I'll save the easiest one for last, which is when we would like to have this meeting. So I think the first question in front of the council today is about whether or not you would like to interview all 5 of the applicants. And then the sub question is whether you'd like to require those applicants to appear for the interview in order to move forward in the process.
So. Oh, Councilor Bateman and Councilor Paul. One of you go.
I personally would like to see us interview all applicants. The question I have is that for our appointments in council board and as counselors previously, you did not have to attend to answer questions or talk with the council at the meeting of appointment. You could just have your application there in front of the counselors. So, is this a situation where we are asking applicants to or requiring applicants to participate in an interview, or is this just sort of left as a standard practice?
I will echo what Councilor McCall Wallace said, and I also would like to interview all applicants. And I think for me, it goes without saying that if you would like to be considered for this position, you should be in person.
Councilor Finn.
I also agree that we should interview all the applicants. And you don't have to be here for the interview, but it sure as helps to be able to answer those questions if you're here.
Councilor Hagedorn, Councilor Reddy, any comments, thoughts?
I'd be happy if they could all be here for the interview forum too.
Councilor Hagedorn.
We spent an hour last meeting hammering through questions, so I sure hope that people would show up for an interview.
Thank you. So it seems like we have consensus that we'd like to interview all candidates and they should be on in person or on Zoom or something.
So what I'm hearing is that we would like to offer an interview to all 5 applicants. I guess I'm not hearing if there's a consensus of whether they have to be present for an interview in order to move forward.
Present, yes or no?
Yes.
It seems like present.
Okay.
Is the prevailing.
Okay, the next question I have is about the ambiguity regarding the role of the council president. There are 3 options. The first one, the council president should be allowed to vote for a nominee, but not be allowed to break a tie, which is city attorney's office recommendation. The second one is the council president should assume the role of the mayor entirely, which means that the council president would not vote for a nominee, but could vote to break a tie. Or finally, the council president may vote for a nominee and then vote again if a tie occurs. So what I'm looking for, our recommendation is to go with the first option, is that the council president should be allowed to vote, but not break a tie.
Councilor.
I think it's very clear that even though the council president is acting in the mayor's capacity, he's not the mayor. He has a chance to vote and not be a tiebreaker. So option number 1 seems very apparent to me.
Councilor McCall.
I'm for having the council president remain as council president, as the presiding officer, and that the voting as a council.
So
Option 1. Yeah,
thank you.
sorry.
Anybody else?
Option
Comments?
I agree with the recommendation. Ashley.
I would prefer option B.
We've got 4 option
What is that
A
again?
and 1B.
Option B is that they assume the role of the mayor and they only vote when there's a tie.
Okay.
So it seems like the consensus leans towards option A.
Perfect. So the last question is, when would the council like to hold the interviews and make the selection?
Well,
I thought they were today,
it's not in the agenda.
apparently.
So.
I-
Go ahead.
I would like a special meeting. I like that focus on being the conversations with the mayor, with the potential mayors, and then our deliberations. For it to all just be in one special meeting rather than sandwiched in our regular meeting.
Agree.
Can we use the regular session meeting as this only, and not have a special meeting or have an additional meeting? Would it be possible, what is our agenda look like for next meeting? We want a second? Are we able to, pick our stuff off and just do the mayor?
I'm not aware of anything that is absolutely pressing, for the first September meeting.
So I like to float out there and do September 2nd, which is a Tuesday, because the Monday's a holiday. We'll use that as a city council meeting where we decide the mayor.
Is there not a work session then?
Good work session. Do everyone left with any board of commission?
No,
the
second meeting.
That's the.
So, there's no work session. Good catch though. Other thoughts?
We don't know what's gonna come up between now and then. And so we could end up with other things on the agenda, other resolutions, other issues. And so, I think picking a date and doing an extra meeting, I think the position warrants that.
Thoughts?
I guess I'm interjecting and just saying, could we do this, a work session? But call it, not call it whatever we're supposed to call it.
In other words, do it before the meeting? I think it's gonna take more than an hour.
So I-
unfortunately. Oh, I'm sorry. Go.
One of the issues is that it is, Monday is Labor Day, and so September 2nd becomes an issue in our office and coverage because all of our Monday meetings get moved to Tuesday. And we often are short attorneys, and I am scheduled to be in Cannon Beach that evening on the 2nd.
So it seems to me that the consensus is maybe we should not do it during the regular meeting, which I would concur with, but I think, and it just, the second doesn't seem like it's gonna work out very well. So what do we think about on a date for a special session?
Special second.
Special session, thank you.
August 8th,
August 8th.
with the following Monday.
September 8th.
September, sorry.
That's a Parks Board meeting.
Keep mine. Or Russell, come on. All right, that's Parks Board meeting, the 8th.
Yep.
What about this?
15th goes, well, that's Sunday.
Oh, wait, we have a Parks Board meeting on the 8th, on Monday?
Yeah.
Oh.
Second Monday of the month.
All right, my bad.
What about another day of the week?
Wednesday, the 3rd.
That's the EDC.
EDC,
Let's go.
the 10th is planning.
Wait, actually.
Yes,
Let
sir.
me correct that. EDC is at 6 o'clock. This could be held at 7. On Wednesday the 3rd.
It could,
So-
they've been going an hour and a half,
I'll-
but it could.
I'll be remote. Wow,
Do I hear
sure.
Mr. Barron in the back?
I believe you prefer to go up around. I'll be, sorry.
No.
I'll be remote, but I can do it remote. I'll just be remote that week. But.
Maybe.
There's also-
The week after,
The 27th, is that too soon?
I'll be down for work, sorry. That's what happens.
How about
Um,
the 4th, Thursday?
I'm out that, I'll be remote.
The 26th of August, next Tuesday.
6th of August,
I can't.
I will be remote, that will be good, the last week.
How about the 10th? Should throw another date out.
Is that a Wednesday? That's planning.
How about the 11th?
Hey, how about the
Isn't
second? How about the second? I know you can't do that.
What about Friday the 22nd? This Friday, how quickly can I turn it around? I can't do it this
I
Friday.
can't.
I can't, yeah.
Okay.
Good try.
Would be nice though.
The 15th. we're gonna
25th,
schedule city
next
council
Monday?
meeting.
Next Monday?
25th, next Monday?
I'm out of town for work. I'll be back on the 8th.
September 15th, which is Monday again, our regular scheduled meeting.
I'm open.
That's our meeting.
Yeah,
Oh,
so instead of having a meeting, we'll,
that's fine. Open.
barring any emergencies that happen.
Where did we land with Tuesday the 9th?
What a great.
Tuesday the 9th. I think there was another meeting. Is there a meeting on Tuesday the 9th?
No, we don't have meetings on Tuesdays.
Oh, man, Tuesday, I'm all messed up.
I also just want to give the candidates an opportunity to plan their
Waiting on
schedules,
this.
so
Oh,
I
yeah.
know we want to act with urgency, but I'm thinking about the other 5 schedules and curious if Tuesday, September 9th could work.
I mean, I can make it work. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry, I cannot have it. Sorry.
Is this week too soon?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tuesday, September 16th.
That'll work for
Councilman
everybody.
Goodwin? Tuesday, September 16th.
I'm flexible, it's important.
I see consensus on that side. City
Yeah, sounds good.
recorder, Tuesday, the 16th.
there are the meetings.
City
Not on
attorney,
Tuesdays.
Yep, that works.
All right, so Tuesday 16th it is.
What time? 6. Thank you.
Done, 6. In stone.
Date certain.
Ash, does that work?
That works great. Thank you.
Okay, so, oh, I'm sorry. Yes,
I have a question back to the procedural questions.
yes.
So one of the things we talked about last meeting was, in working on our questions, was that those would be sent out or could be sent out with the, to the applicants or in the agenda pack, either one, so that, they had them ahead of time. And is that something,
No problem with it. Anybody else?
I probably want to leave some here for, kind of like, how do you think of the pressure?
well, they're already out there in the community, so I feel like if we should make it,
It was recorded. Is it online?
we should make it.
That was a work session, right?
No,
It's not
I
online.
don't think it's out there,
Mm-mm.
unless I forward my email.
I don't, doesn't make a difference to me the way I generally, when I interview, I generally post my questions publicly anyway, because I'm not looking for the answers, I'm looking for behaviors, but it's just how I do stuff. But it's up to you guys.
Yeah, I feel like we should put them out there and, you know, we have had other information that's floated around the community. We're not sure where it came from. So, you know, I'm not real trusting of that at this moment. But I also feel like it's not a test to see if you can answer the question. It's really, you know, thoughtful answers. And I know that we will have opportunity to follow up and kind of go with things with it, but we should share the process with everyone. And then if the public wants to weigh in on any of that, there's open public comment at all the meetings, including the special meeting.
Any comments?
Well, we have public comments before the interview meetings. This is not city council meeting, this can be
It's, yeah,
We have to, because it's public meeting.
So it all, I mean, you do not, no public meeting requires public comment unless it's a land use matter, so would have to just look at your council rules. Do your council rules require public comment at every meeting?
I can't remember, I just was looking at them.
It's not a city council meeting, it's
We can say that unless your council rules require public comment, you do not have to have them.
Otherwise, we have a bunch of people in here advocating for, whatever is against land use, right, as for land use.
So let's just say that if it's required, we will, and we'll get back on that to make sure, unless there's another opinion. Anybody? All right, I think so. Okay, anything else on this item? Ashley, are we good?
No, thank you.
I just want to say thank you for Ashley for spelling that out so clearly for us.
Yes, excellent, and that's a lot of information. So let's not have any more mayors or something. So next item is city manager report. Bill?
Okay, I'll try to keep this quick. A few different things. First off, I have a couple of different bits of information just in response to some public comment that we've received about first off with the ODOT TGM grant and its validity and the money being used to concept plan an urban growth boundary that doesn't yet exist. And that was a criticism that was made in some written public comment a couple of weeks ago. And I just want to inform council that I informed ODOT of those comments and asked them for their feedback. And I have a memo written up and I'm sending it to Lori so that can be dispersed. But our partners at ODOT don't view it that way, that the concept planning grant and the money that they've awarded for us to do concept planning, even with a UGB not currently newly drawn or decided, there's no restriction on doing concept planning outside of the current city limits and certainly outside of the current UGB. It's a planning exercise, I guess is the bottom line from their perspective. Anyway, so I have that comment, and then in the memorandum, there's just kind of a schedule of everything that, we would be doing moving forward, and there's information about some substantial, public outreach to talk to residents, and have some advisory committees to dig into what does the community want, or what does it not want, and all those things. So, we've heard comment about public outreach not existing or being delayed or what have you, but I would say it is delayed. We have this planning process that's going to get into that with residents in a number of different ways. The second thing I wanted to just, I'll be sending a link to you all. But what I wanted to do was just share with you. We got some public comment verbally, last meeting that made some really kind of, I would say audacious claims about the consequences of not having the audits done. And what that means for grant monies that we have, and that's gonna threaten money that we're getting or have gotten, that sort of thing. And what I wanted to do is I'll be sending a link, or even a document to you, but the League of Oregon Cities, last updated this, FAQ on municipal audits in in April of 2023, originally written in February of 2018. And it makes clear that what happens when cities or other public agencies are late for audits, it's common. I can even send a link to the engine. You can go to the Secretary of State's office and see who's late on what. It's not something we want to be, but to characterize it as a threat to the city in any way, as expressed, is not accurate. The primary consequence for a public agency being late for an audit is the Secretary of State's office has the option to notify different state departments who distribute revenues to the city, shared revenues. And as you recall, in June, council adopted 2 resolutions that declared we can get shared revenues from the state. And then the second resolution was we choose to receive those shared revenues. So primarily for us, it's the Department of Transportation. And then we do get liquor and marijuana statewide shared tax on a population basis. Anyway, up to 10% of those revenue streams can be paused until the audit situation is corrected. We don't currently have those pauses on us. There's actually, and then when the audit is done and certified, the pause is taken off and the revenues that were paused are given to the city. We don't currently have those on us. My understanding in looking into it with Secretary of State's office is there is an epidemic of cities and agencies, particularly cities late on audits. And a big reason being that starting with COVID and the COVID years, everybody got federal funds that requires a federal single audit. And a lot of agencies are still kind of working through more 23, fewer are late on 22, some are, a lot more are late on 23 and later years. So it's just kind of a weird situation. We're not alone. We're very close to being done with 22. By the end of the year, we'll have 22, should have 23 done as well, because again, we're staging 23 to be completed immediately after. But I don't want it to be understood by this body that we're facing, threats and consequences to a bunch of different things. It's really, it's not good to have our revenues for shared revenues paused from the state, but that's really kind of the limit of it. The only other thing that this document doesn't touch on that we want to be careful about in terms of consequences for late audits is if this city were to go out and do a new big bonding of some kind, full faith and credit or a revenue bond of some kind or what have you. Bond rating agencies use audits to do the bond rating. And so if we were going out for a new bond right now, that would be problematic. So that's not in here, but that is something that is, depends on the circumstances for the city. So I just wanted to share all that, and then I'll share this manual as well. There's just a lot of really great information about audits, why, what, and who, and all those things. So I'll send a link to you as well about that. So anyway, just want to kind of get at those bits of information, and then I did some research to kind of take a look at it was brought up tonight that I think I was accused of improper behavior and unethical behavior and avoiding paying it should be $350 surety bond invoice. And here's the situation. We received a surety bond invoice that was part of the package that went before you all to hear that and authorize us to go ahead and pay it. And then you had the discussion of, let's, I guess, bring back the conversation of, do we want it? Or do we just, do we get rid of the ordinance requirement for it? You had that conversation tonight. After the Monday night meeting, I was in Bend, I was at a conference. It was an existing accounts payable week, so it didn't get staged in that batch. But I didn't get it into the batch 2 weeks later because the following week, I went on vacation. So it was simply a matter of, I didn't get that invoice. We got an email into the batch, for payment. So that is on me, but it was merely an accident of, I'm away a lot and I just didn't get it in. So it's my error, but I want to state for the record, despite some rather audacious accusation against me, it was an error. It's an accounts payable error. And just want to let you know that. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions for city manager?
I know it.
Yes.
The bond keeps on, people. There's trying to be, it seems, I don't want to speak for people's intents or beliefs. However, I'll speak for my intents and beliefs. I believe that other people are trying to just poke holes and cause strife, and this is so they can point at. Can we just pay it? Just get it done like immediately, and also the audits, what's it take to get that done too? I mean, I know it's nothing. So let's have it closed. Just, hey, if it's going through the rocks, you should just take the rocks.
Thank you, Councilor Page. No, yes, we can pay the, we plan to pay the $350 surety bond invoice. It's nothing. $100 for a $26,000 surety bond is nothing. This was just invoice error, and we can stage it into this week's accounts payable batch because it's only Monday. Not a problem. Regarding the audit, we just, there just are journal entries, and verifying those has been taking time with everything else going on. What I will say is tonight during the second executive session, you will get information from me that gets into that a bit more. But the bottom line is it's just a bandwidth time thing, but we are working on it. And now that budget season's over and everybody's back, we should be able to get to it much faster, but that's all it is. That's all it is. It's just sitting down and spending the time to go through a bunch of journal entries to make sure we got them right before finishing the statements.
Councilor Hagar?
Will there be any value bringing in outside resources to help expedite it? Since there is, you are a guy with many hats and busy.
No, I appreciate that. We do. I mean, Marina and Associates has put together all of the journal entries for us. They are former municipal auditors. That's actually another reason why a lot of cities are late with audits. Marina and Associates was one of the state's largest municipal auditors, public agency auditors in the state. 2 years ago, they decided to get out of the municipal auditing business, and they dropped all of their city clients, and all those cities had to scramble for clients. We were lucky in that we got them as a client. We got them as a vendor to provide auditing preparation and accounting consulting, and they do help us with some payroll issues too. So they've already seen everything. And they're the ones that have prepared all the journal entries, but it's still on us to go through all of the needles in the haystack and make sure that we've checked their work before we call it done and done. And it just takes time.
Counselor? All right. With that, we'll say thank you to Bill, and I'm gonna, if you're all right with that, I'm gonna encourage everybody to watch the 3 things you need to know on your own, because we're way behind. Thank you.
I can include it in the Friday 5, just to
appreciate it. Nudge. All right, so council report. So I'm gonna start with Councilor Hagedorn and go around. Easier that one. Counselor?
I had the opportunity to attend the planning commission meeting this week, and they went ahead with selecting housing option B as a recommendation by the RAC.
Thank you. Councilor McCullough?
Sure, I attended the economic development meeting on August 6th. And they did a recap and follow-up from our joint session in terms of next steps. They, in alignment with our colors and goals of the downtown improvement plan, looking at URA opportunities, discussed looking at the concept of agri-hoods from an economic perspective. And then also with the survey with businesses needing to decide on a specific direction and some inventory, having the official branding there to put it's a city brand, etc. And then basically talked about meeting with us regularly and how to measure success. So how we would measure success and talk to them about the reports. So that was that one. I'm interested in attending the League of Cities 100th conference for the year with them. That conference October 2nd to the 4th. I think that invite is out to us. I don't know if anyone else is interested. And then tonight we heard a lot of thank yous and recognition, both from the chamber, a variety of people that were involved, from neighbors to our first responders, as well as elected officials and staff. And we heard that from Nick and counselors. I'm wondering if that's something that can't be put into the newsletter as a train derail thank you. And we sort of acknowledge that large group of people from, you know.
That's an awesome title, by the way, train derail, thank you. Sorry.
That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Reddy.
I did not have any ex officio videos. I have a great month with my kids.
But you made it to the Garden Festival.
I made it to the Garden Festival. I was able to volunteer at the chamber booth. I had a lot of fun there. Met another business owner. Got to have a lot of fun prizes to locals and non-locals and support our local business.
Excellent. Counselor Fagan.
Much like Counselor Redding, I had a easy month for my ex officio duties, but I know my time is coming. I had the privilege to attend a tour for a new shelter in Tigard with partnership of Family Promise to Tualatin Valley. So the building is the Bridge to Home building, and it's a previously was a hotel. It has about 120 rooms that have been converted through various streams of revenue into temporary housing. So people that are experiencing houselessness. So it was just really insightful to see just the use of how a space could be reimagined from a hotel into a shelter, and had an opportunity to meet a couple people that were staying there, and then learn a little bit more about the average stay for I guess there is 3 to 4 months, but then also with some of the current changes in funding and how they're anticipating that to be lengthened. And so had a really great time seeing that, and just encourage, if you have any donations for household items, gifts, they have a really great birthday room that they have for families can go in and shop for presents for their kiddos. So always encourage donations to the Family Promise at Tualatin Valley are really beneficial.
Excellent, thank you, Counselor Page.
I have also had a very light ex officio duties for last month. I did attend a Garlic Festival, and I volunteered at the Information Center. Stole some sweaters or actually t-shirts and such. I do encourage folks in the community to volunteer for these events. It's a lot of fun. I mean, they get you a little bit more involved. I think it's a great thing. Earlier today, there was public comment about it was noticed that some people in the community along Bosco Road, some homeowners, seeing people walking in the heat and open their selves up to give people water and a little bit of a respite. And there was some discussion about like, oh, it'd be nice to do something nice for them. I was wondering, is that something we could do? Have the city send out like a real official thank you, you noticed, and great job being a citizen, signed by, the acting mayor or somebody. Yeah.
We have city cards that we could have.
We should all, yeah,
citizens sign.
that'd be nice.
Great
Yeah,
idea.
Consensus, yes?
Yeah.
Would it be
Yeah.
okay if we could bring those to the next meeting? It'd be great.
I
Great
can
call.
contact Cindy, find out who
they
want.
Or you can.
Just the address.
Yeah.
If you get the address, I will send her the house and I'll knock on the door. And ask for some more.
Whoa,
Find out, we'll find out.
that'd be great. Okay, well, this is weird because I also had a light ex officio except for the Washington County Mayors Association, which was primarily focused on the levies and some conversations around immigration, which I'm not really sure how that impacts us at this level, because that's a federal jurisdiction. But anyway, that aside, there wasn't really anything that came out of it other than they really want to pass the levies because the county wants more money. I will say I was at the Garlic Festival, and as Councilor Page pointed out, I totally encourage people to show up and just volunteer. I had a lot of fun. And then, of course, I had a lot of fun when the train derailment happened, because I just ended up wandering around trying to help people figure out how to get there, which took me a little while to figure out too, because we didn't know where the train derailment ended. But great work by all, and I really appreciate it. And there's some lessons learned that I intend to share with Bill and the chief. Nothing negative, just things that having had the experience now, I see things differently. So maybe there's some things that we could add, or maybe not, but at least it's things to look at. So. And I also, I feel like I owe Rowan, so I'm just gonna do this publicly, but I'll call her or swing by tomorrow. I feel like I owe her a little bit of an apology. I got a little bit, I felt like I didn't handle that well, trying to ask the question, or didn't phrase the question well about the permit. Still just trying to understand the building code, but I should have been a little bit more tactful. So Rowan, I apologize, and I'll come apologize in person tomorrow, because I didn't want anybody to feel like I was calling them out. I'm just trying to understand building code is giving me a headache today. But that aside, I think that's all for council reports. Anything on council calendar that we need to look at?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
So we got contacted by the WCCCA, the County Consolidated Communications Agency. Butch had always been a representative with the 911. Butch has always been the representative, and it was never on our list, and I think he was the representative just because of his years and years on the fire department. And so they notified Bill, and they're like, nobody's been attending the meetings. It used to be Butch, and so I said, let me put it out there and see if we can get a representative from council to attend. Their meetings are quarterly. I think it's like the fourth Thursday, so the next scheduled one is September 18th, and then after that, it's December 18th, and they meet in Hillsborough or also via Teams, so it doesn't have to be.
It's the third
I
Thursday.
just want to throw some out there. I think it'd be critical to have somebody from our city to go represent us there. I know they're talking about user fees and increasing and small agency costs, so it'd be.
It would be very good.
So it's just like any of the other council appointments, they would like a primary and an alternate that I can give them contact information for, so.
Anybody have interest in
Quarterly.
WACA? Councilor Higginbotham.
Awesome.
Second,
Council President.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Looking at the last page of your agenda, and it would appear that Councilor Dumbro is the primary representative to the Washington, oh, I'm sorry, that's the Washington County Board.
Yeah, they're two
not
different
enough
things.
WACAs. WCCS.
Isn't that fun? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
She said, I'm like, wait a minute, I go to those.
Nope, different one.
You're
Different one.
right, and that one is blank.
Yes.
What's the time?
3:00. And we don't have to get an alternative right now. I mean, the next meeting is coming up next month, but if
You'll
you're,
be the alternate.
okay,
I can't commit primary.
I think if neither of you are available, just without creating a quorum issue, let somebody know so we can, I think somebody can step in.
I'll send you a postcard.
Beautiful. No quorums with postcard. I think somebody can cover that, because I agree that is very important, and I think we should be there. And I'm glad Councilor Dumbrou didn't miss something, because occasionally that happens.
Yeah.
I feel terrible.
I don't know my schedule yet, was gonna be like, but if I'm free those days.
okay. And I still have Council President Dunbarrow for the coordinating committee.
Until we get a new mayor.
Until we get a new mayor. And I also have you on the MPAC.
MPAC or MAC?
I have you on MAC, but I have you on. Are you the primary on MPAC or?
Well, no, but
He's
yes, for now.
secondary.
I said it, everybody need to note that I'll take August.
Cause they're not having a meeting.
I know, right?
I know that.
Well done, sir.
Um,
We'll figure that one out, yeah.
okay, cause I've got you two, I've got you as the primary.
I'll make sure, if I can't
President.
make it, I will shoot a note to Counselor
So,
Fake.
okay, I'm just gonna
We'll
leave
get
you
it.
two on there and you can,
That's fine,
fight amongst
we'll
yourselves.
just
Okay.
fight it out or something.
okay, I think everything's.
Okay,
filled
everything
in
else is
then.
good? All right, so with that,
No, so is the planning commission open?
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
9:10?
Oh, I didn't look back on that one.
I will
Yes.
take that one.
Pardon me?
Counselor Page,
Got it, thank you.
okay. Thank you, I missed that. And then Lori, do I gavel out or do you need to read the statement first?
I think I read the statement before we get on, correct? Okay. And I can do them both in one statement. There's two times.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you. The city council will now meet in executive session under ORS 192.660 parentheses 2(h) to consult with counsel concerning the legal rights and duties of a public body regarding current litigation or litigation likely to be filled. And under ORS 192.660 parentheses 2 parentheses I to review and evaluate the employment and related performance of the chief executive officer who does not request an open hearing. Only news media representatives and staff designated by the city council are permitted to attend the executive session. News media representatives, staff, and council members are respectfully directed not to report on any of the discussions that occurred during the session, except to state the general subject as previously announced. The council will return to regular session if there is a need for action on the executive session item. No final action or decision may be taken in executive session. Any materials distributed will be collected by the city recorder at the end.
Thank you. And I show us adjourned, regular meeting at, 9:10.